Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Circle of Knowledge podcast. It is another beautiful morning, and we're going live and we're sharing a bunch of knowledge and using the knowledge to take immediate action in our life. I have been able to interview some amazing human beings, and I still have a few more on the table to interview and to connect with today. And I think you're going to love them. They're absolutely great teachers, motivators, coaches, mentors, speakers, all of the above. And they're able to share their life, their story in their own unique and special way. And that's the one thing I love about this show is I get to be front row to learning and connecting, but also the opportunity to be that annoying little kid in the front row who's like, hey, I have a question. Can you answer this? Tell me about that. And I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I ask on behalf of my audience because I know that curiosity is what truly gets you to understand things in a different way, to gain perspective. Curiosity is what ultimately led, and I'm going to get into a nerdy quote here, but curiosity is what ultimately led the Hobbit to leave its shire and to move about the world and to figure out what this world is all about and to have at the result and at the end of it all, adventure, experience. So that is the platform for the Circle of Knowledge podcast. I'm looking forward to introducing my guest today. And I want to tell you guys that today's conversation, or in this episode, we're going to learn a little bit about what's called the PSA. It's the Public Speakers Association. And I recently became friends with a really cool individual and professional who is actually acquired the ownership of the Public Speakers Association. This individual has an awesome background in coaching and consulting and as a business professional. And I've been able to see some awesome success and progress from my experience in the Public Speakers Association. But before we get into that, I just want to read through an amazing bio for this individual. This person's name is Brian Wagstaff. And Brian is an amazing human being. I vouch for him. I talk about how awesome he is. And as just as an individual, having conversations and connecting with this individual, we always get to some of the most exciting content and topics. Yesterday, we were just talking about some of the Olympic Games and all the gold medals that are happening and so forth. It was great. But you guys, Brian Wagstaff, since leaving a job in the corporate world, with Boeing Commercial Airplanes 17 years ago, Brian has owned a number of businesses and has been a real estate investor. He has been involved in 5 different network marketing companies. Through all of that, he has hired numerous coaches to help him in his journey. One of them convinced him that he needed to become a coach as well. That idea scared him, and he spent 2 years as a real estate agent to figure out that he hated being an agent and that his calling was to help people. And just moving away from the bio here for a second, he is really good at it. He is really good at helping people, a superpower, if you might, but just really good at giving people advice, counsel, and helping people kind of see the big picture. After becoming a coach, he set a goal of becoming a speaker so that he could help more people. An opportunity to buy the Public Speakers Association was presented to him, and he jumped at a chance to develop his speaking abilities and spread his message. And that is one of the things that I'm excited to introduce, talk about, and to walk through his story a little bit deeper and a little bit more. Welcome to the show, Mr. Amazing Brian Wagstaff. How are you today, brother?
Hey, I'm doing great, John. Thanks a lot. I loved that introduction. I wrote it and it's about me, but I love to hear it. It's like, oh, wow, that sounds great. It sounds better than I expected.
That's great. I'm glad to hear it. It's fun when you write your own bio, but then you give it to the person to speak about them. And, you add a little bit of context, you add your personality in there, but it really is amazing what you've been able to do. And until you and I recently met, I actually had no idea you had experience in the aerospace industry, working with Boeing, and that's pretty incredible. But I'd love to ask, before the coaching life, before moving into that particular avenue of your life, tell me a little bit about your background and dive a little bit into what it was like to work for Boeing, or just why you even got into it. What did you study? Like, how did you become the man you are today? That might be a really long open-ended question, but really what I want to know is if you were to sum it up and fast forward, what brings you to today? Give us a little bit of background about yourself.
All right. Well, I studied manufacturing engineering.
Cool.
And while I was working at Boeing, my kids would ask me, "So, Dad, what do you do?" And I'd tell them, "I work on the parts that hold the wings on the plane." And so they were like, "Wow, that's a pretty important job." So I don't know. I think they thought if the wings fell off of the plane, it was my fault. That's the way it seemed to my kids anyway. But
Yeah.
it wasn't quite like that. But yeah. So when I got to Boeing, I thought, oh, this is great. There was all kinds of training.
Hold tight, everybody. I think I'm having a little bit of a technical difficulty. Might be some internet issues, and it might just be a blackout. Let's find out in just a second. Let me bring Brian back in. All right, Brian left us for a second, but I'm going to continue his story. That's a good guessing game. Brian will be back on in just a minute. I think he may have had an internet issue or something. But you guys, Brian's an interesting individual. Anytime you get somebody who has the background of engineering, right? I actually just recently interviewed another individual who has that engineer mind. And when those engineer minded people find their voice and are able to effectively communicate to people, they have a very, very, very powerful way of providing solutions. And I'm going to welcome Brian back to the show. Glad you're here, brother. And I was just sharing a little bit about the process, right? When you have an engineering mind, and when you see the world in a different way, and then you gain access to the ability to communicate and the desire to help people, it literally becomes a superpower. People are able to see that this individual has more than the average human being has, because you're resourceful, you see things clearly and logistically, and there's just so much more. So I'll let you continue your story. Sorry about the technical difficulty, but go ahead and continue moving in that direction.
My power went out again. This is the second day in a row, right in the middle of the most critical time. We're doing something online. 2 days in a row, power goes out and I lose my internet connection.
All good. What's funny is it's actually pretty close to the same time, which it's between 10 and 11:30. That's pretty cool, but it's all good, man. I'm glad. But we were just continuing the story, and I was just sharing that the people that I've met, and I've found a lot of interest in people who have that engineer mindset, and then when they find their voice, it really becomes a superpower in how they are able to really help people. And when used for good, we always watch the movies, the engineers who use their power for bad, right? They can do a lot of evil. But you and many other people that I find I'm very attracted to and magnetized to, the caliber of people like yourself, Brian, who have an active mind. And anyways, I'll steer it back to you. You were talking about Boeing and engineering and studies and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, so when I first got there, I loved the company and I loved all the opportunities. But every year that I was there, it just got, I don't know. I lost interest more and more each year.
Wow.
And it was, I got tired of the corporate, all the politics, all of the I don't just the infighting between different organizations in the company, and I got tired of being just a super small part in a huge company. I mean, I said that I worked on the wings, but it was seriously such a small part of the wing that I felt like I wasn't even making much of a difference. And I often thought, you know what, if I didn't come to work tomorrow, no one would even miss me. And one of my coworkers actually did that one day. He purposely didn't come into work, didn't say anything to anybody, didn't talk to his manager, nothing. And he came back the next day and no one said a thing. No one said anything to him about it. And I thought, you know what? I want to go where if I don't show up, people notice. Or so that's when I decided I want to do my own thing. Yeah. And that way I'm not limited by a company, and I can see what I'm accomplishing. And so that's when I decided, okay, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that book inspired me to, okay, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to go do my own thing and make a difference. And yeah, so that's why I decided I'm going into business. I'm started investing in real estate.
Cool.
Owned a few other businesses, and like my bio said, I dabbled in network marketing, doing different network marketing groups, and I thought that there was something wrong with the company. That's why I go from one to another. And then I found out, no, it wasn't the company. It was me. I got to work on me. And that's when I started hiring coaches and working on personal development.
I do have a question, and just to help me connect the dots here. Leaving that corporate space and going to real estate investing, was that an opportunity that was presented to you? Was it something that you were interested in? How did that come to be, and why real estate? It's an interesting jump from where you were working on, a very small part of a company working on the wings, rather than that you move into real estate and investments, which is a very social, very intricate job. Tell me more about how it came to be that real estate investment was the first jump, or one of the jumps.
Well, I mean, there was a time where I thought, oh, I want to stay in manufacturing. I want to own my own company, and I even looked at buying a small machine shop. And my dad has a lot of experience in manufacturing and machining, and I had him look at it with me, and he wasn't too impressed. He was, and he's like, no, I don't think you should do this. I don't think this is the right company. And so I kind of got turned off on that. And then I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, where he talked a lot about passive income. And I was like, okay, I want to create passive income. And so even though I had the engineering experience, and I thought, why did I go to school and learn engineering and then leave it and go into real estate? But I decided that my education was super important. It taught me how to solve problems, but it didn't really matter what I used that education for. Like what you study in college doesn't necessarily have to be what you do for the rest of your life. Most of us change careers, 5 times or whatever throughout our lifetime. So I decided, hey, I'm grateful that I have an engineering degree. It's good knowledge. And like I said, it helps me. I mean, I learned to solve problems, and those problems could be engineering problems, or they could be business problems. They could be problems with employees, people problems. There's tons of problems out there, and they all need to be solved. And how you go about it is, just depends on you and your background, or what approach you're going to take.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I want to get into that too. I apologize for looking off screen. grabbed my copy of Rich Dad Poor
Oh,
Dad when you brought it up, and this is a classic copy. I'm holding it up here on the screen, but if you're listening to the podcast, I'm holding a copy of Rich Dad Poor Dad. You know it's old when the pages are yellow, and and I flip it to the back. And this is a classic copy because it has the co-founder and inventor, or I guess the co-partner and one of my mentors on it, Sharon Lechter. And most people think Rich Dad Poor Dad was just Robert Kiyosaki, but they are wrong. It was also one of the top financial leaders in financial literacy, Sharon Lechter, too. And I hold this copy dear to my heart, but it was that exact same thing that you described that I read too, probably 15, 20 years ago, that I recognized that, man, there is so much more to finances and everything else than just putting money in a bank, than just putting it in my debit or my checking. There's so much more. There's exponential. I'm going to use this word. I'm totally making it up, so don't think that I'm doing this on accident. But exponentialities of investment, and really it's just the exponents of being able to invest your money and put it where, it could go bigger. So I love that. So I just wanted to show and tell a little bit, but diving into that idea that you can serve people in a different way. You can help people. That's a very, very noble direction to take in your life. It's also a very fulfilling direction. And in a way, it's very self-serving, because when we help people, we feel better. We make our lives happier. We do better things, bigger things. And so as you started moving into the space of helping people, you got into some coaching. Can you tell us a little bit about the coaching, or just what you like to do, or what coaching you strive to do with people?
well, number one, I really like coaching men. I mean, I have nothing against women, but I like coaching
Who
men,
you connect with?
and I like coaching them. Well, yeah, that I can connect with. Guys that have struggled with similar issues that I have. Guys that struggle with their relationships, maybe their relationships with their dad. So I had a dad that he was great, but he made a few mistakes along the way that made me feel like I was not measuring up as a man. Things that happened when I was 12, 13 years old, when I was trying to prove to him that I was a man, and he let me know that I didn't quite measure up. And the biggest one was when I turned 12. I thought that I was going to be able to start mowing the lawn, because my sisters did it when they were 12. And when I turned 12, my dad said, "You're too small. It's dangerous. We're going to let your sister do it for another year, and you'll have plenty of time, when you're 13, and till your brother's old enough." And my brother's like 5 years younger than me. So that really crushed me, because I thought, oh man, my dad thinks that my sisters are more capable than I am, that they're more, they're stronger. They're more manly than you are at 12. So that's something that I just learned this, like in the last few years. It's like, oh, I made that connection. That's really where I started to get this feeling of I'm not measuring up, and I'm not. My dad is not proud of me. My dad's not. My dad doesn't think that I'm capable,
Wow.
that I'm a man.
And I know the feeling too. It devalues you, right? That feeling emasculates us, if that's a
Yes.
good word to use.
Yeah.
But it tears you down, and you start to feel that the lack of value. So as a coach, you like to work with men because, consequently, you want other men to feel the feeling of being, valuable, appreciated, to know that they can do the hard stuff. Is that what I'm gathering?
Yeah. I mean, I want to help men that are struggling in their businesses. men that are struggling in their relationships with their wife or their girlfriend, with their kids, that men who are not standing up and taking charge of their families, because a lot of men, pass that off to the women, or they let the women run the show. And that's what I was doing for most of my marriage, without realizing that I was doing that.
Wow. That's thank you for sharing that. That's really cool. And it's refreshing to hear, because, not many people, I mean, there's a lot of people that come on my podcast, and not a lot of them are willing to share that kind of stuff. So that's really, really valuable. I'd love to transition a little bit, and let's talk about Brian today. Now, in your bio, we talked about, acquiring the Public Speakers Association, and I know that you and I are connected through a network marketing organization and a few other things. We can talk about that later. But as far as Public Speakers Association go, Public Speakers Association has been around for a few years, and I know it because all of my mentors and the people who I learn from as a motivational speaker have all either been on the show or have been on their summits or been members or connected to or so forth. It's a great place to connect and so forth. But what interested you most about the Public Speakers Association to say, I'll take it over?
I think what interested me the most was growing the organization and getting more people into it, getting more new people, and especially people that don't have experience with public speaking, because I bought it without being a public speaker ahead of time. And people ask me, well, why did you do that? Well, because I want to get into this. I want to learn the industry. I mean, just when I was doing my due diligence, I realized, oh my gosh, this industry is not what I thought it was. I mean, I thought, oh, okay, so I'm going to start public speaking and people are going to pay me. And I realized, no, not very many people get paid to be a public speaker. There's a lot more people that are speaking, and the reason they're speaking is to promote their business.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are paying to speak, and I didn't know that was even a thing, that people would pay to get on a stage and present. I thought it was the other way around.
Yeah. And I love that, because you truly have the heart of the curious mindset. And I love that, because we know the phrase, you need to surround yourself with, the 5 people you surround yourself most with is who you typically become. Like, you are the average of the people you hang around most, right? And I've even heard that you are the average of the content you consume and the things you listen to and the things you eat. And that makes sense, right? When I eat a lot of fatty food, it shows in my belly. But when I eat a lot of green food, it shows in my belly. So it's pretty funny. But I love that you surrounded yourself with the atmosphere of public speakers so that you too could learn the process. And to me, there's nothing more noble than somebody who doesn't know the process, but still jumps into a business with that mindset of, I can learn this, I want to learn this, and I want to surround myself with that ideal person. In fact, the hard part for most entrepreneurs is already done for you, which is, who's my clientele? Well, it's public speakers. I work with public speakers, and that's really nice, because a lot of entrepreneurs struggle to define their avatar, right? And to learn what their ideal client is. But this one is already done for you. And we just you get to have an opportunity to really connect with amazing speakers. And I think it's awesome. I don't know if you had anything to add to that, but it's really cool that that was your mindset moving in.
And that really is what I was looking at, is like the connections. It's like, okay, this provides me the connections for the people that I need to get to know to grow my speaking abilities and grow my speaking business. And I thought, well, okay, what better way than to own it and just throw myself in the fire, just get out there and not just be a member. I could have just joined as a member and then grown. It's like, No, I think I want to throw myself in there and push myself, force myself. I don't want to take it slow. It's like, let's speed this up.
Literally, Daniel in the lion's den, man, putting yourself in there only to recognize that the cats are just cuddly, right? That's oh, I love that. I want to highlight a little bit more about you and what this is all about, and then we can talk about PSA as an organization. But I love that, and thank you for just leading the way with that. You didn't even know you were, but your curiosity led to an example of people who should take action just like that, right? They should always consider doing the hard things so that they can learn in a faster and more effective way. At least that's what I believe, and I surround myself with that, which is ultimately how you and I got connected in the first place, through my
Yes.
networking events and through one of the other affiliate marketing programs that we're a part of, and so much more. There's just we surround ourselves with the curious minded people that lead to massive action, which is pretty awesome. I'm proud of that, and I'm proud of our connection and how that came to be.
Yeah,
With
and I'm just blown away with the ties that are between coaches and speakers and marketers and entrepreneurs, and even personal development. There's just so much personal development and business uh, business know-how that comes from these groups, and so it seems like a lot of times you think, oh, is this person a fit for a PSA? And it's like, I don't know. I mean, but they're a coach, so maybe they're not speaking now, but they're a coach. They could use, and a lot of the things that we speak on relate to them. They could use it even if they never become a speaker. What we have can be beneficial for them.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. Absolutely love it. Well, fantastic. And I want to talk a little bit more. So the Public Speakers Association, which I'm a member of, is pretty inexpensive. It's a really great deal. And when people join the Public Speakers Association, whether they're a speaker, a future speaker, or not a speaker at all, it seems that when people join the Public Speakers Association, they get a really great balance of things. One, there's monthly opportunities to listen to inspiring speakers, and it's a non-selling platform, so you're not going to be sold. You're just going to be introduced to amazing human beings. It's also a place where you get to not only hear motivational messages, but as a member, you have entitlement, I guess. I don't know what other word to say, but entitlement to being potentially featured on the one of the summits, and there's more opportunities too, but it is truly a community. I mean, there's several thousand members in the Facebook group and on the page that you guys have, and it's just a great place to connect and share your message and work with a really great group of people. It really is like diving into the small community of public speakers who are on this earth, and there's a lot of them, but at the same time, percentage wise, there's probably less than 1% of people in this world are public speakers or motivational speakers. It's pretty dang cool. I wanted to ask you too, like what are some other ideas or thoughts or benefits to somebody when they join the Public Speakers Association? I know I gave away the big one, and so I took your answer away from you. But what are some other things that you believe that people gain as a result of being members? And I'll share my example too. I have some things that I've gained from being in there, but I'm curious to see from you what you believe people gain when they join as a member.
We do have some partnerships with some other organizations. We have Speaker Hub. Speaker Hub is a way to get your name out there, to register on the website and put in your bio and everything. And so Speaker Hub is a way to get on more stages. There's also Speakertunity that we have a partnership with, and Speakertunity has so many resources. In fact, I think that my biggest complaint about them is that they have too many. It's like when I go to their website, they have so many things I can't decide which parts of it I want to use. Anyway, so yes, Speaker Hub, Speaker Tunity, and then there's also Be Connected, which is it's kind of it's kind of like a matchmaker process, kind of like the dating apps.
Ah,
Um, it's a place where you put your bio in, and people can come and see if they want to connect with you. And so there's all kinds of coaches and speakers and um, people working on self-development at the kind of people that we were talking about. You can find them and Be Connected, and that's another way for you to grow your business.
I want to share into that because if you guys think about it, like, yeah, there are platforms like social media, such as LinkedIn and Facebook, where, yeah, you could join groups and the forum is open and you could, follow the rules of a group and whatnot. But the fact that these partnerships that you have and the opportunities and resources within the organization are focused mainly on those who run their business as motivational or public speakers. That's really cool to me because you can't get more niche and more specific than that area and that topic. And I know that a lot of speakers have very, very different methods. And there are a lot of successful speakers out there. There are a lot of struggling speakers out there. That's the story of any business. I love that those different hubs and those resources really connect public speakers in a cool way. And so if you're listening to the podcast or if you're watching this and you're interested in public speaking, the Public Speakers Association is a really great place to get started. There are a lot of other great organizations too, and I'll vouch for them. And I'm very happy to share with people my resources as well and point people in the direction of that. It's really an amazing opportunity to just surround yourself with more people, and that's what I would advise a lot of future speakers, growing speakers, or even speakers who they've got it made. They've got gigs and they're doing their thing. Is surround yourself with more speakers. Get into as many organizations where speakers, mentors, coaches, all of that is the focus. Like that is the connection, and that's the value in the community. I love that. I'll tell you my personal experience being a member of the Public Speakers Association. Obviously, I've had a
That'd be
really
great.
great I've had a really great opportunity to speak a couple times on the monthly summit, and it's always a great experience because as a motivational speaker, I'm always writing new scripts. I'm coming up with new things to really capture my audience with, and this has been an amazing platform for me to put those amazing speeches to the test and work with the audience members. I've also had a great opportunity in that to learn more about what my audience needs. But I've also just been able to be on the stage with incredible human beings. I mean, just recently we had the opportunity to listen from and hear from Eric, Mr. Awesome Swanson, who is in fact a dear friend of mine, as well as a mentor and a coach and just an amazing human being. And on the summit, he talked about some success tools that I had never heard about and some methodologies that were really, really important. And so as a member, just attending and surrounding myself with these speakers, I've gained so much knowledge and understanding and even resources myself to connect with other individuals and to learn more about how to grow myself. And if anything, like that's the ultimate community, save your money and don't go to college when you can just go to the Public Speakers Association or any one of those other organizations. I have an organization called the Global Speakers Mastermind that's actually ran and led by Eric Swanson. But essentially, you really need to surround yourself with the types of people who, one, are going to motivate you, two, they're going to teach you, and three, are going to show you how to do it. And I'm a big fan of that. So there's a lot to say about those who are just members, those who take advantage of the full benefits. And I totally forgot about the partnerships. And so I look forward to taking advantage of the other benefits as well. Whew, that was a long monologue from me. I want to turn it back to Brian for just a second and say, Brian, is there any parting words or any specific nuggets of knowledge that you'd like to share with our audience, whether it pertains to the Public Speakers Association or just in life in general? What do you believe in, and what do you think our audience needs to know?
You did remind me that we do have um, a members only area of the website that has
Mm.
trainings, thousands of dollars worth of trainings that are on there. So that as well. So you said what you want to give me, like one nugget, or you want me to give it like a words of advice, or
Yeah, if you were to say, if here's a great way to ask this question is knowing what you know now, what would you tell your younger self? And what would that knowledge help your younger self do to make your life different or change? What's an important value or something of knowledge you'd love to share with the audience, knowing what you know now?
well, one of the things that I've learned going through all this self development and going through the process of becoming a coach and buying the Public Speakers Association is I've learned where my stage fright or uh, my well, actually it also came from or I got call anxiety when I was making cold calls as a real estate agent. I've learned where that came from, and so I've gone back to my childhood and figured out and found a few things that have happened, childhood, and as a teenager, and found a few instances that or things that happened that caused me to have a fear of public speaking. And it's kind of weird. It's like sometimes I've been totally fine. I'm very comfortable. I could speak in front of a few hundred people, and I'm fine. Other times I get a lot of anxiety and can't even function. Um, so I don't know. You don't want me to go into any of those stories, do you? Or maybe one?
Pick one. Yeah, let's pick
One?
one story, and then we'll send people your way.
Okay. Well, the one that happened when I was the youngest was when I was about 6 or 7 years old. My mom told me to make a phone call. I think kids today don't even know what that means. I mean, like they only know what texting is. They don't even, Actually, yesterday I saw a kid using a landline at a business, and I almost walked up to him and said, "Hey, do you even know what this is? Do you even know what this this phone thing is that's plugged? Has this cord plugged into the wall?" No, anyway. So I was like 6 years old, and my mom wanted me to make a phone call, and it was for a church thing, and she wanted me to call this lady that I didn't know very well, and I did not want to do it because I didn't want to talk to someone that I didn't know, or I didn't want to talk to. I didn't know who was going to answer the phone,
Mm.
and I said, "Well, what do I say?" And she said, "Well, just if it's not her, just ask to talk. Just ask, is your mother there?" And so um, I make the call, and I hear on the other end of the other end of the line a deep voice, and so I know it's not a child, but I still didn't know what to say. So because I had rehearsed, "Is your mother there?" So I said, "Is your mother there?" And he says, "Oh no, I haven't lived with my mother for 20 years." And then he laughed, and I was so embarrassed. And I kind of stumbled and said, is your wife there?" And then talked to her. And I don't even remember what happened after that, but I was just so embarrassed, and I don't want to make a call or talk to someone that I didn't know after that. Um, and so then, a few years ago, as a real estate agent, when I'm making cold calls, and I had call anxiety and had a meltdown, I didn't understand what had caused that until recently, when I actually figured out, oh, it came from my childhood. But my coach, he pointed out to me, he said, "Hey, you know what? That's that guy laughing. He wasn't laughing at you, or he said he was probably laughing because you were so cute." And that just, I mean, flipped something in my mind. I was like, "Oh, yes, I understand that," because I did that to my kids all the time. When they would do something cute, I would laugh. And they would say, Dad, why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? And because you're so cute. I don't know why is cuteness so funny? I don't know. And kids don't understand that. And
Right.
anyway, so yeah, we shouldn't laugh. We should have a different reaction to cuteness, I guess.
I love that. It really is simple and so powerful. And we, what I love about laughter is, and this is a methodology we teach in professional organizations, is laughter raises the heartbeat in a different way. It causes us to change our state. Some people talk about state changers, and they talk about, bark like a dog or yell or scream or big power poses in front of the mirror. And you know what? I've learned over the years that laughter is just as powerful as any one of those affirmation based tactics. And I do know that learning to laugh and work with people is a skill set developed over time. It's not a nervous tick, and it can be at first, but it becomes a strategy, and it becomes something that absolutely helps a lot of people. But I was just adding a little bit more context and depth on my perspective of what you shared. But I love how beautifully you said what you said, and I think that's a really great principle and easy to take advantage of and apply in their lives.
Well, and I think we've got to all learn how to laugh when things don't go as we planned.
Yeah.
When you're on a stage and something doesn't happen, or something happens and that you didn't plan, the power goes out or whatever. You have to learn to laugh.
Absolutely. You just got to learn to laugh. And we've done that multiple times in the last couple of days, which has been awesome. I've been able to enjoy the process. For you guys who want to find out more and learn about the Public Speakers Association, and Brian was talking about that today on the show, go to publicspeakersassociation.com. That's public speakers with an S at the end, speakersassociation.com. And there you'll be able to shop around, look around, see some of the featured speakers that are on their stages, but also an opportunity to join the membership. And I think that opportunity is right there at the beginning. So join in the membership. I think it's like an easy $25 a month or something like that. And Brian actually has a special deal for those who do join. Brian said that he would, if you guys sign up for Public Speakers Association, you pay your monthly fee or whatever for 10 months, and you'll get 2 months for free, which is amazing. What a cool deal and what an offer. But it's just a no-brainer, guys. It's a great it's a great organization to help people to grow their public speaking career and to just learn more and to get opportunities to speak on a stage, which not many organizations allow. So that's pretty remarkable and sets you apart from other organizations. Would you like to speak into that for a second, or anything else you'd like to add? Otherwise, how can people get a hold of you personally, and what would you advise for them?
How to get a hold of me personally? On the website, actually, you can contact us through the website.
Perfect.
So there's a place to send a message, and email comes to me.
Awesome. That's sorry, I think I cut you off for a second. There's a little bit of a lag there.
No. I was done.
Awesome. Well, awesome, guys. This has been a fun interview. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate your time and your knowledge that you shared on the show. I'd love to have you back again, talk more about what's going on, the progress of PSA, and also just where life is taking us. There's so much more that we can offer and bring to the world. And I just appreciate you diving in and serving people. And you guys follow his example and his heart. The idea that we can serve others is the most valiant way to go about your professional life, and you'll find fulfillment there.
All right. Well, thanks for having me, John.
You are awesome, my friend, and have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much. And this is another wonderful episode of the Circle of Knowledge podcast. Until next time.